Last month, my brother-in-law glued my belly button shut while I was blackout drunk, and now my marriage is falling apart. It happened at a family barbecue we hosted. I'd had 3 beers, enough to feel loose, not enough to expect disaster. Jake has always been the older brother, even when his jokes landed wrong. That night, he thought it would be funny to pour super glue into my navel after I passed out on the couch. I'd had abdominal surgery a few years back, a hernia repair, and the glue fused with the scar tissue. I woke up to pain. I tried rinsing it off in the shower, but the glue had already hardened. Pulling at it just tore the skin. Emily drove me to the ER, where they spent 2 hours cutting it out. The bill came to around $2,300. Not life-ruining, but we'd been saving every spare dollar for fertility treatments. 3 years of trying, 2 miscarriages, and now this. Jake shrugged when I confronted him. He said that I was too sensitive and that it was just a prank. He had been staying with his mom since his divorce 6 months ago, lost his job, his wife. Emily mentioned he had been diagnosed with ADHD as a kid, but he had never used it as an excuse until now. He stated that he is impulsive. He refused to help with the bill. Emily begged me to let it go. Her family places a strong emphasis on loyalty, holidays, and group texts. She cried when I told her I was consulting a lawyer friend. Small claims court felt extreme. But what else could I do? We didn't have $2,300 to spare. The papers got served to his mom's house, where he has been staying. His mom called Emily crying, saying that I was mistreating him during a difficult time. Then I checked our bank account. Emily had transferred $500 to Jake from our joint savings. There was no discussion. When I asked her, she looked away and said that she thought it would fix things. Her voice cracked. She had never hidden money from me before. We fought, not yelling, just a tense and quiet atmosphere. She said she felt torn between me and her brother, that she didn't know how to be loyal to both. I asked if she would choose him over us, over our chance to have a family. She did not answer. Jake's ex-wife texted me unexpectedly. They had split after he drained their savings on a failed crypto scheme. She stated that he does not change and that I should hold him accountable. It felt like permission and also a warning. Work has been a mess. My boss pulled me aside last week and asked if everything was okay at home. I lied, saying it was just stress. The truth is, I have been distracted, checking our account constantly, waiting for another withdrawal. Emily has been sleeping on the couch. She says she needs space to process, but sometimes I catch her staring at her phone, thumb near Jake's contact. I don't know what's worse, the financial hit, the betrayal, or the silence. We used to talk about baby names. Now, we barely communicate with each other. Has anyone dealt with something like this? How do you rebuild trust when the person you love is stuck between you and their family? And am I wrong for wanting Jake to take responsibility, even if it costs us everything? Now, for the first update. 2 weeks ago, I posted about my brother-in-law gluing my belly button shut and the fallout with my wife. Things have gotten worse, and I don't know how much more we can handle before we break. Jake's lawyer offered a $300 settlement. The medical bill was over $2,300, and now there's an extra $400 charge for anesthesia they'd missed. I refused. Emily said I was choosing money over her family. She stated that I was punishing him for a mistake. But it's not about the money, it's the fact that he won't even admit it was more than a prank. The court date's set for next month. Meanwhile, mutual friends mentioned Jake's been on vacation. Emily says it's probably just a weekend, but I saw a photo on her phone when she left it unlocked. He was grinning. I didn't bring it up. What's the point? 3 days after the settlement offer, I overheard Emily on the phone with her sister. She said that she maybe should have married someone easier. It wasn't angry, just tired, like she had accepted it. I stood in the hallway until she hung up. She never mentioned the call. Our fertility clinic paused treatments. We'd missed 2 payments, $500 Emily gave Jake, plus the car repair that drained our emergency fund. The mechanic said the transmission was damaged. Emily blames me for the delay. She said that if I just let this go, but letting it go means eating the cost ourselves. Letting it go means Jake wins. Jake's mom showed up last Tuesday with a casserole and a lecture about forgiveness. She stood in our kitchen. She said that family doesn't sue family. Emily nodded along, avoiding my eyes. I wanted to ask why family doesn't help family either. Emily's cousin called me privately. She said Jake's been borrowing money from relatives for years. His divorce wiped him out, and he never paid anyone back. She warned that he was good at playing the victim. I didn't tell Emily. It felt like betrayal, even though Jake's the one who owes us. Jake got a part-time job at a warehouse. It was his first paycheck in 6 months. My lawyer said we could garnish his wages if we win, but Jake's already talking about quitting. The lawyer said that Jake would vanish again and that it happens all the time. Emily's migraines started around the same time. She's missed 3 days of work. I brought her aspirin and water. She thanked me but turned away. The distance between us isn't just emotional anymore, it's physical. I offered to pause the lawsuit if Jake paid half. He called it extortion. Emily's dad said I was being petty. He told me that I was not blameless. Maybe he's right. I drank too much that night. I trusted Jake. Emily's sister organized a family dinner. I wasn't invited. Emily went alone, came back with a to-go box of lasagna. She said that they had asked about me, but her voice was flat. I didn't push. Last night we had a moment, rare these days. She cried, said she's scared we'll never recover. I held her. She asked, what if we can't come back from this? I didn't have an answer. How do you balance justice with love? I want Jake to take responsibility, but not at the expense of my marriage. Emily wants peace, but not at the expense of our future. Jake just wants to move on, regardless of the consequences. Has anyone navigated something like this? How do you rebuild when every choice fractures things further? And am I wrong for wanting him to pay, literally for what he did, even if it breaks us? Now for the second update. A month ago, I posted about suing my brother-in-law after his prank left me with a $2,000 medical bill. The court ruled in my favor last week. Jake didn't show up to the hearing. His lawyer claimed he forgot, but the judge didn't accept it. Ordered him to pay the full $2,653 bill plus fees in 30 days. Emily's mom took out a high-interest loan to cover it. She's 62, and her retirement savings were already thin. Emily begged me to void the judgment, saying her mom couldn't handle the stress. I offered Jake a payment plan instead. He stopped answering my calls. Emily's been off her fertility meds for 3 weeks. She says it's hopeless anyway, but the real reason's in our bank statements. Skipping doses saves $200 a month. We haven't talked about kids since the court ruling. Jake got fired from his warehouse job after screaming at a manager over a scheduling mix-up. My lawyer filed for wage garnishment, but he's driving Uber informally now. Cash tips, no paper trail. Emily's migraines got so bad her doctor suggested taking stress leave. Her job doesn't offer paid time off, so she powers through. We haven't touched each other in weeks, not even a hug. Last Tuesday, I brushed her shoulder reaching for a coffee mug, and she flinched. Ran into Jake at the grocery store. He was buying a 6-pack and frozen pizza. When I passed him in the cereal aisle, he muttered that I ruined his life and walked off. His cart had a pair of kids' sneakers. I wondered if he's even allowed to see her anymore. Emily's dad had a mild heart attack 2 days later. Her family group chat lit up with updates, but no one tagged me. At the hospital, her aunt pulled me aside and said that I was causing the stress. Emily didn't correct her. I started journaling, just a cheap notebook I keep in my glove compartment. Writing down the facts helps. What Jake owes, dates, numbers, no emotions, just logistics. Last entry. Landlord raised rent 8%, lease up in November. Emily found it yesterday while cleaning the car. She accused me of keeping score and portraying her family negatively. I didn't deny it. She packed a bag while I was at work. She texted that she was staying with her mom for a while. No expressions of love or intent to talk, just a period at the end. The hard part isn't the anger, it's the doubt. Was $2,653 worth our marriage? Maybe I should have absorbed the cost. But then I remember the ER and the doctor working on my scar tissue for 2 hours. Jake smirked when he said that I was too sensitive. Emily's mom called this morning. Not to yell, just to say that she's not ready to come home. I asked how Jake's doing. There was silence. Then she said that he's struggling too. I know, that's the problem. How do you choose between holding someone accountable and holding your life together? I thought the court would fix things, but it just split us wider. Emily's not blameless, but neither am I. Jake's a wreck, but he's still her brother. If you've been here, loving someone who loves a person who hurt you, how did you survive it? And if you had to do it over, would you let go sooner? Now for the final update. 6 months ago, I sued my brother-in-law over a prank that left me with a $2,000 medical bill. I thought the worst was over when the court ruled in my favor. Turns out, winning was just the start. Jake's been driving Uber under the table since he got fired, but the IRS caught on during a routine audit. They flagged his earnings, and suddenly he was willing to negotiate. We settled on $100 a month, barely a dent in what he owes, but at least it's something. He showed up unannounced last week, shoved $200 in crumpled bills into my hand, and asked if I was happy now. I didn't ask where the money came from. Emily moved back home 2 months ago, but she's in the guest room. We talk about the weather, the dog, whether we need milk. Her mom's loan defaulted last month. Jake hasn't paid her a cent, and now her retirement's shot. Emily doesn't mention it, but I see the way she stares at her phone when her mom calls. I got a promotion at work. Not life-changing, but it covers the rent hike. Emily's still at her same job, clocking in through migraines. The fertility clinic left a voicemail last week about resuming treatments. We haven't called back. The savings account's got maybe half of what we need, but it's not just the money. Every time I bring it up, her face goes blank. Thanksgiving was her sister's idea. The invite said that it was family only, which I guess answers where I stand. Emily went alone. She came back with smudged mascara and a Tupperware of dry turkey. She said Jake spent the night making jokes about Mr. Perfect and that I would probably sue the pie for being too salty. She didn't defend me, just sat there, cutting her meat into smaller and smaller pieces. We had it out the next day. She admitted she regrets not backing me, but said the lawsuit turned me into a stranger. I told her I'm sorry for not compromising sooner. She apologized for shutting me out. At least we were talking. Date nights are Thursdays now. We go to the same diner, order the same fries. Sometimes she almost smiles. Last week, she reached for the ketchup and her hand brushed mine. Neither of us pulled away. Jake's car got repossessed last month. Emily's mom posted a GoFundMe for his fresh start. I contributed $20 anonymously. He's back on her couch, same as after the divorce. Emily's dad called me last Sunday. First time he's dialed my number in a year. He said he was wrong to blame me and that Jake has always been difficult. I didn't know what to say, so I thanked him. We donated the remaining lawsuit money to a medical debt charity. Emily suggested it. I thought she'd pick something fertility related, but she said they wanted to help someone else overcome their problems. The receipt is taped to the fridge, right under a grocery list. Last night, we were washing dishes. She didn't move away. When the last plate dried, she held my hand and said that maybe we could try again. Not about the baby, about us. I don't know if we're healing or just getting used to the cracks. Jake is still present in every room, and Emily still flinches at sudden noises. But the other morning, I found her reading on my side of the couch. She didn't apologize, just handed me a coffee, black, the way I usually take it. If you've ever had to choose between your marriage and your dignity, how do you know when to let go? And if you stay, how do you stop counting the costs? I'm not sure we're the right people to ask. All I know is we're here, trying.